My name is Amrik Martharu. I'm the Distribution System Director at the Regional Water Authority. And long story short, civil engineer, fortunate to also do a master's in engineering management. We're a core tenet of that was sustainability and conscious capitalism. So it's very fortunate to then be a part of this group, kind of bringing that stuff I learned about all those years ago back home. And part of working with this group is the realization that our organization does this conscious capitalism every single day. And I'm fortunate to be a part of most of these programs that we'll talk about in this presentation. Now, not with me, but not pictured here, is Kevin Watson. He was a big contributor to this project. He unfortunately could not make it today. He's our Director of Communications, who's had a storied history in government affairs and water companies, working congressional halls in DC, American Water as a VP of Government Affairs, and Veolia, two of the biggest privately owned water companies in the country. So behind me, you'll see our regional water folks with Larry Bingaman at the center of the year at one of our, this is actually last year's Arbor Day. So with that, we'll get going. Our higher purpose, water, right? But it's not just water. Our goal is to make people's lives better every day by providing water for life. We do this for 430,000 customers across 15 cities and towns. We protect over 27,000 acres of water. And at the core of every decision we make, whether you're a frontline person working in a trench, cleaning a water main, or the back office planning for the next 5 years, we make sure we answer the question, is this going to make people's lives better? Especially when you're providing something like water. Now, all this conscious capitalism really shines through our employees. Behind me, you'll see Kevin Watson, who lives with us in spirit today, at one of our toy drives. Our employees are so good at giving. Last year, we donated $26,000 to the United Way. Those were employee contributions, not part of our organizational gift to the United Way. We do toy drives, food drives, clothing drives on an annual basis with different parts of our organization. And we're very proud to also promote that through our Dollars for Doers program. So if an RWA employee volunteers 30 hours or more of their time, the Regional Water Authority will then give $1,000 to that organization. And we'll just keep giving and giving and giving. We are fortunate to have a lot of folks that take advantage of that as well, especially during the pandemic. Now, frontline folks, and I call us the worker bees that get stuff done, we got to that conscious capitalism moment in our culture because of our conscious leadership. Led by Larry Bingaman, we make sure that we promote these values through our STARS tenets. It stands for service, teamwork, accountability, respect, and safety. We are a water company. Most of our employees are out there working with dangerous materials every single day, so safety is a huge part of what we do. And I'm fortunate to say that my team of electricians and technicians have the longest safety streak, knock on wood. Not bad for guys that work with 480 volts and up. So part of our community involvement is making sure that we have buy-in from the municipalities and the areas that we work in. Behind me, you'll see a photo from our 2-day-long confined space entry training program we did in Hamden with the Hamden Fire Department. This is a mutual benefit. So if there's ever an emergency at our facilities, they know how to navigate our space. Water treatment plant, as you can tell, there's a lot of pipes. It's not the easiest place to navigate when you're standing, let alone you're incapacitated and in an emergency situation. We make sure that we invest in our community partners so that they're equally as invested in us. And we make sure that we also meet with our state regulators. So we partner with the state organizations very closely. We hold quarterly meetings with our local health departments, and we also meet quarterly with our local police and fire departments. So behind me, you'll see another photo of our Arbor Day. This is from 2023. Last year, we were able to plant 60 trees throughout our community. I'm not sure where we were in 2023. But community involvement is a big part of what we do. We donate various parts of our infrastructure to different programs. There's various parks, schools that we donate service lines and valving to. That's a high cost, especially in this economy with the price of steel going up. the savings could be thousands and thousands of dollars there. And we roll out our water wagon to different events, and you'll often see us at least once a year at Quinnipiac for hockey night. This is also one of my favorite photos. So this is Larry with the guy we like to call Uncle Ronnie. He tells me that he taught me everything that I know about water today. But Larry's vision on conscious capitalism really radiates throughout the organization. It's a big reason why Kevin and I were fortunate to be a part of this program. And it's not only the external or the internal messaging that he provides, he makes sure that he gets out into the community as well. Over the summer, I believe, the Greater Valley Chamber of Commerce's 60th annual meeting, he was there as a keynote speaker about conscious capitalism. And in case you're curious, I can tell you about this truck a little later. This is actually a one-of-a-kind vehicle. It is a water cleaning truck. It works in a closed-loop system, wastes zero water, and cleans our mates better than traditional methods. So, fun stuff we do here. And one of the reasons we got that truck is to make sure our workforce is engaged. It's not just an innovative piece of technology we're using that betters the environment, but if you trust your staff to do a good job, they're going to return it tenfold. And by investing in a truck like that is a great example of that. So beyond that, we also hold certain weeks that celebrate what our folks do. Customer Service Week is one of the big ones. This was our Halloween costume party that we do, or contest that we do every year. Again, we're a big labor, person in the trench organization, so we do a safety week punctuated by a safety cookout. And like I said earlier, we also do a hockey night at Quinnipiac University. So this past Friday, we were out at our annual Quinnipiac hockey water night, and we're there because guess what? You need water to make ice. So it was actually a pretty easy sponsor to get folks on board with. And throughout the night, we have commercials up on the big screen there, all educating folks about the water cycle and what we do as stewards of the natural resource. We also play trivia throughout the night with folks in the crowd, again, to better educate everybody on something that I think most folks take for granted every single day. And that's not the only community partner or corporate sponsor we work with. We're fortunate to be a part of the Southern Connecticut business community, Gateway Community College, Boys and Girls Club. I actually also had my staff speak to folks from Junior Achievement about their career path in the electrical side of the water world as well. So we make sure we get out there and work with our corporate sponsors. So obviously, as a natural resource, we are certainly stewards of the environment. Behind me, you'll see one of our watershed cleanups that happened, I believe, on Halsey Avenue. Again, we managed 27,000 acres of land, and I think that grew a little bit this past year with the recent land acquisition as well, only to make sure that we're better protecting our water reservoirs. Between watershed cleanups and our solar panels we have at our North Sleeping Giant well field, we take every opportunity we can to be responsible when it comes to the environment. One of the most public-facing ones you'll see is our rain barrel sale. Most people think, oh, well, you're just selling rain barrels. But we sell them at cost, and the intent is so that you use them for all of your outdoor activities, washing your cars, watering your gardens, instead of our water. Now, we don't make any money on the rain barrels. If you're ever thinking about buying a rain barrel, ours are 2/3 to half the cost of the ones you'll find at Home Depot. So save $1 here. And the intent is to make sure you use less water. So the only things that benefit from that are the consumer and the environment. One thing we take very, very seriously is education and awareness. We have 2 full-time teachers that teach out of the Whitney Water Center across from the Whitney Treatment Plant. They teach grades K through 8, and they teach 8 to 10,000, I believe, kids each year. I think it was a little less last year. All using hands-on experience, going to certain facilities, and teaching water-related courses. One of my favorite stories, Lisa DiFrancesco, one of our teachers, she's been working with us for, I think, 20 years or so. Now, a lot of the teachers that call her for programs are kids that she taught when they were young. So this is an example of a great program that's really ingrained in our communities we work in. And on top of that, for high school seniors, we actually hold a career camp what they do is they come in and they learn about all the different parts of our water system. And actually my folks talked to them the last 2 years about your career pathways and opportunities. So one of the big things we're dealing with is the lack of folks going into the trades, right? I know, Marna, you also spoke about it in your presentation. And what this does is it shines a light on the work-life balance and the pros of going into more of a trade school background instead of thinking about going to an engineering school. So it's a really interesting take on trying to get folks thinking about their careers beyond just what they may see through their high schools. So one of the big reasons I like working at the Regional Water Authority is because we're constantly looking at what we do and trying to figure out how to improve on it. The two projects that really exemplify that this year is what we're doing on the water loss control side. So we have 1,700 miles of main. There's a leaky pipe somewhere, right? So for every leaky pipe, that's a waste of energy and money and could contribute to higher rates. So there's a huge incentive to make sure that we try and control any water losses. So what we've done the last year is we've deployed listening devices that are backed by AI. What they'll do is you drop them in different parts of our distribution system. They'll listen for a leak and tell us where it is. Huge. And at the same vein, what we're doing is we're using the same technology NASA developed to find water in Mars. We're using that to also find leaks in our water system. Fortunate to be piloting that within the next year to great effect. So now we can just send our guys right to where a leak is, as opposed to still dropping bugs and then waiting and listening. We try to be as innovative as we can to the benefit of our consumer. So when we redesign our pump stations, most notably one in Burwell, we've went from a 50-year-old horizontal pump to a new vertical pump that better meets our average day demands and is much more efficient. Back here, we have our GIS team. That's actually Jim Gagnon. He's our GIS. So why should you be able to access your water account on your phone as well? And an AI-based chat support. Now, the cool thing about this is it's not a chat bot. It's not you going to a website and talking to a machine. It's actually a back-end AI that's going to help our customer service reps better answer your question. It'll be able to go through all of your account history and process any issues you may have had, and then better inform our customer service reps so that customers have a better experience. Public health obviously is very, very big for us. Water is the only utility you can ingest and interact with in that specific way. So if we mess up, people die. It's a very fine line that we operate on, but our folks are so good at ensuring that what we're putting out the door meets the highest quality, highest water standards that are around. We collect over 10,000 water samples annually. All of these are summarized and reported out on again annually as well. And that does not include all of the continuous real-time monitoring that's done at all of our treatment plants and well fields. So if there's ever the slightest inkling of an issue, we are well aware of it, well before it gets out to the public. Now, if that ever happens, we make sure that we notify every customer that's impacted, as well as our state and local health agencies. Because water is the most important aspect of life, in terms of things that you need to live. So we make sure that we notify everybody that could potentially be impacted if there is an issue. Now, infrastructure is key to making sure that there's safe and reliable water supply. We invest around $40 million a year in our capital program to make sure that we're delivering on that higher purpose of making people's lives better with clean, safe drinking water. And it's important, especially in the last couple of years with the infrastructure bill, targeted and responsible investment is what's going to make sure we have water in the future, right? So spending money on the things that are important to protecting our natural resources, enhancing water quality, and maintaining our infrastructure are key to making sure that we can continue to supply the communities that we interact with clean, safe drinking water. Now, RWA is very fortunate to be an equitably and inclusive place to work. Simply put, our diversity is what makes us great. And this is led by our employee committee, the Tide Council. It's a diversity, equity, and inclusion group. And we hold events, we run fundraisers and challenges throughout the organization to ensure that we're bringing the awareness of diversity, equity, and inclusion to the workforce. We've also partnered with our human resources department to alter hiring practices a little bit, doing little things like blind resumes makes a huge difference. So it's a great place to work, and we've got various folks here. We've got our VP of technology up there in the corner as well. Oh, there. Future vision. So RWA's goal is to become a 21st century water company promoting sustainability and conscious business practices. Our long-term goals are enhancing water quality, protecting natural resources, and embracing innovation such that we secure a reliable and safe water future for all the communities that we serve. Behind me are our solar panels that I spoke about earlier at one of our largest well fields up in Hampton. So how do we get there, right? Well, not everybody's like Larry going to wake up and say, all right, I'm going to spend my Saturday selling rain barrels, right? Well, this is what I hit on a little earlier. We've altered our hiring practices a little bit. I think with the pressure of the silver tsunami that's hitting a lot of industries and a lot of organizations, you're trying to plug holes, trying to fill gaps so that you continue your business as usual. But we took a step back and we said, all right, it's not about just the technical ability anymore. We take a more holistic approach at evaluating our candidates to ensure that they're just not going to benefit us at the RWA, but they're going to grow to actually impact the community in a positive way as well. Talking about communities, I know I've spoken about a couple different things we do, but I think this one might be the most profound and maybe the least known about. It's our hazardous waste collection program. So last year, about 7,500 residents took part in it. It's free to our members. And what it does is allows for the safe disposal of harmful and hazardous waste. So behind me, you'll see paint cans and various types of wood stains. So every paint can you see there is one less that might enter the environment in some way, shape, or form. It's difficult to quantify, but in my past life, I've worked on many construction sites, and let me tell you, they don't really care where stuff goes. So everything you see here offsets that. And we're proud to say that there are plenty of folks that take part in this, and it's open to all of the folks that live in all of the towns that we work in. So 15 cities and towns, it's a pretty big program. So I'd like to end just talking about this guy. This is Ron Walters. He's been with us for, I want to say, over 30 years. He works in our environmental department. He's a real steward for the land that we own and the land that we interact with. He reviews development plans. He works with state, local, and public action groups, also conservation commissions, to make sure that what we do doesn't impact the environment, to make sure that what private developments do don't impact the environment and the watershed, and he actually makes sure what I do doesn't impact the environment. So he is a hallmark of the accountability part of our STARS tenants, and unfortunately he is retiring this next year. So what we want to do is make sure we find more people like Ron. I'm fortunate to say that we work in an organization where, from the guys in the trenches to folks in the back office, everybody really cares about the importance of what we do, and Ron certainly exemplifies that. So thank you, folks.